Check 1 2, check 1 2. Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze, the Conscious Resistance Network, and today I'm going to do a rundown of more Finders files, the FBI Finders files. Uh, in just a moment, we're going to dive into that. I'm live right now on Wake Up News. This is Derrick Broze of theconsciousresistance.com. I'm live on Facebook at Wake Up News, live on Facebook at The Conscious Resistance, live on Facebook at Derrick Broze, and of course live at on YouTube at The Conscious Resistance. And this will be later posted to BitChute, to Library, to a number of other alternative platforms, though. But if you're listening here for the first time, my website is theconsciousresistance.com. As you can see right here, I'm going to try to keep this short, although we have 100 pages to go through. I'm going to assume you guys can hear me okay. I'm not going to be on camera. You will just be hearing my voice and hopefully not too much background noise. But again, my name is Derrick Broze, Broze. I work with Wake Up News. I work with The Mind Unleashed, and my website is theconsciousresistance.com. So let me double check that everybody can hear. Cool. We got sound. Everybody's good to go. All right, guys. So look, for those of you who are new to this topic, I'm not going to dive into re-explaining myself and doing what I've done before in previous broadcasts, so you're just going to have to go back. But let me give you the short version. The short version is this. Again, my website is theconsciousresistance.com. About a year ago, I released this documentary, just over a year ago. It's called Who Will Find What the Finders Hide? Full documentary. It can be found for free on theconsciousresistance.com/thefinders. It can also be purchased on our Vimeo page. So just go to this page if you want to download it, and you can learn all about it. But here's the short version, the 30-second version that I told in an hour in the documentary. In 1987, these two men that you see pictured here were caught with 6 children that you see pictured here to the right in Florida in a blue van. They were well-dressed men. The cops got called on them. It led to a nationwide investigation in 1987, which accused these men of being involved in human trafficking, child trafficking, connections with intelligence agencies, and there was accusations of satanic activity, which were never proven, but those are the accusations that were thrown at them. What has been proven, what I showed in my documentary, and what we've since found through interviews with former members of the cult, as well as police officers who were involved in the investigation, is that there was a cover-up. While this did make mainstream news, like it never would today, I mean, this is the sort of 20 years, 30 years ago, early version of what people call Pizzagate, Pedogate, but it's all based in facts. You can see through here my transcript. I've got everything sourced that you can find, all available in the documentation there. So in 1987, it becomes a big story. Within a week, we're told, whoops, big mistake, nothing to see here, and that it was all, it was all just exaggerated, and the kids were never sexually abused, even though some of the doctors originally said there was, even though some of the police originally said that there was naked pictures of children, and there was high-tech equipment, there was computers that they were using to communicate and to traffic children to China and elsewhere. All of that was dismissed. There was allegations that the CIA covered it up. Then in 1993, the case came back again, and it was investigated one more time to see if the CIA had in fact covered it. Surprise, surprise, the intelligence agency said, nope, we didn't do anything wrong, nothing to see here. And then it disappeared from the public memory. Then I released my documentary last March 2019. And then all of a sudden, guys, some of you have been following, remember this. In October 25th, 2019, out of nowhere, the FBI starts dumping, let me see where that's the second one, starts dumping Finders documents on their website called The Vault. Here you can see I covered it on October 30th, 2019. We did a big deep dive that day. I think we did like a 2-hour, 15-minute broadcast going through 300 pages of documents. I'm going to try to keep it much shorter today. That was in October of 2019. Then shortly after that, in February 2020, we saw that the FBI released a second file related to the Finders. And I dove in that, and we did this. This was about maybe another hour and a half or so. And we found even more information, including reports that even after the original case, that was actually a 2.5-hour broadcast where I went deep into those documents. And we found that there were still police reports of, the police seeing children at the Finders warehouses and being involved with trafficking children still, even after the 1993 case. In fact, there were some people who were saying that the Finders were, quote, babysitting the children of U.S. diplomats. And then I also did this one after that, where we focused and keyed in on the Finders and the CIA connection, because somebody told me that it was fake news and that there's no real connection. Well, There is. So yeah, that's a quick recap. And that's even longer than I want it to be. If you want to get the long version, please do watch the documentary, theconsciousresistance.com/finders. But now what I've realized, and this is actually more than a month and a half old, after the FBI dropped number 2, they actually dropped a third. You can see right here up in my top left screen, part 3, finders documents. They've released 107 more pages. Now, again, for those who are new to this, a lot of this might not make sense what I'm about to do, because I'm not going to recap and read things that I've already read. So if what we're about to see is something that's been previously covered in one of my previous videos or in the documentary, well, then you're not going to see it. We're just going to kind of skim through it. This is looking for new pieces of information. And just to be frank, I'm also on a time limit. I've got a really important call about the future of the conscious resistance at 12 p.m. noon. So I've got 35 minutes with you guys to cover this and 107 pages. So we're going to do this. Before we do that, though, let me go back and check the comments real quick. Make sure you guys can hear me. All right, everything's good. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you to everybody who's watching this. Again, if this sounds outlandish to you guys, you got to go watch the documentary. I do not deal in quote unquote conspiracy theory. This documentary is what I would consider a true crime documentary, where we actually put all the facts in front of you. It's 100% fact. There's no denying it. And it's just interesting that last year the FBI randomly decides to start dropping more documents. There was no discussion, no announcement. They just randomly posted this on their Twitter feed, and now people like myself are diving in. So let's go ahead and dive in, guys. All right. So first facts cover sheet, FBI office, WMFO, that means Washington Metropolitan Field Office, attention, Criminal Intelligence Division, attention, Special Supervising Agent, FBI. Okay, so total number of pages being faxed for. All right, now this looks to be something that we've seen before. Let's look at the date. This is 1994. As I just told you guys a moment ago, the original case happened in 1987. The second investigation happened in 1993. So this is after all of that. This could be something new. And we see a redacted name or something. It says somebody was contacted off his office. Whoever they are stated he is currently somewhere at the West Palm Beach Customs Office and previously has been in the Fort Lauderdale office, and prior to that in Customs headquarters, where somebody from the child pornography unit. Prior to being with Customs, he advised he worked with the IRS, and he has been with Customs service since. Originally, so-and-so advised that he was asked by Customs during 1985 to do a threat assessment on child pornography, and after doing so, Customs made a decision to form the child pornography unit and blank. The purpose of this unit was heavily redacted. During the initial stages of the formation of the unit, he recalled that Special Agent somebody was assigned to the unit. However, after approximately something, he was then transferred to Reston, Virginia. During early 1987, somebody advised that he and his unit became aware of the Finders Group through information they received from the Reston office concerning searches that had been conducted. He recalled at the time being asked by somebody as to what something unit have learned of the Finders and whether anything was in hard copy. When this person told him that nothing had been written as yet on the group, somebody told him to keep it that way. You guys get that? Look, I mean, it's redacted, but look, this officer is apparently part of the formation of a child pornography unit, starts asking questions saying, hey, I heard about this Finders Group. Do you guys have anything on hard copy? When this officer told him that nothing had been written on as yet on the group, he told him, keep it that way. It was somebody's understanding that the Reston office, where somebody was assigned, was conducting whatever investigation was necessary and passing this information directly on to somebody, who in turn would then pass it on to Customs. Now, I know this can be kind of boring or mind-numbing to some of you guys. Trust me, it is for me reading through the documents. But what's important here to understand is that the FBI, why would they choose to just release these files? My guess is that enough time has passed. It's only 1994. That wasn't that long ago. But they decide to release these files for one reason or another. And pieces of the truth are often hidden here. They don't plan on anybody digging through these or looking in them, and especially not anybody who's as well researched on the topic as myself or John Brisson and others. But as you can see, the vast majority of this stuff is redacted. So let's continue just here. He says he had verbal contact with somebody whom he described as something. However, someone did not tell him at the time of the Finders and something. Further advising that he himself was told to report what information he learned concerning the Finders directly to his special agent in charge. Since that time up until the present, and then a huge blank piece, However, he has reported everything to George J. Weiss, Commissioner on Customs. Then a huge blank paragraph. Somebody, contact with somebody, he advised. I mean, look at that giant chunk. What truth is hiding from us, guys, right there? I mean, it's insane to think. Since 1992, somebody advised he has been in regular contact with both. Somebody, I mean, this is even just getting hard to read. I'm going to kind of skip through this, guys, because unfortunately, this is just going to be annoying to read. So far, it doesn't look to be anything new, though. This is happening in the 90s, though. Remember, the Finder's original incident happened in 1987, and then it came back up in 1993. But I mean, look how much of this is redacted. I can't even read further. Blank, blank, to deny, blank, providing, blank, blank, further. Now, interesting right here. It said, further, somebody stated that when he saw the July 21st, 1993 letter from someone, wherein on page 4 it intimated that somebody may have destroyed files, he immediately asked for an internal investigation by the U.S. Customs, which was conducted, excuse me, guys, which was conducted by somebody, Internal Affairs for Customs in the area, telephone number. So, I mean, did you guys catch that little, that's what I'm saying, is that there's these little pieces of truth that get mixed in there. We haven't previously heard, at least I could be wrong. John Brisson, if you're watching this later, correct me. We'll have you back on the show to talk about this. For those who aren't aware, John Brisson, I had him on the show recently talking about the Satanic Panic. He's a researcher who's writing a book on the Finders, and him and I have collaborated on this a little bit. But I've never heard them reference somebody destroying files. Excuse me, guys. Somebody denied any knowledge of any organized child abuse in the Stuart, Florida area, or any indication of the Finders group being linked to the blank child abuse case. So they're trying to see Stuart, Florida. If you guys look that up, Stuart, Florida is very well known for child trafficking cases. Florida in general. You guys remember Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein, Palm Beach, Florida. Donald Trump has a house in Palm Beach, Florida. The Finders, Tallahassee, Florida. There's been a lot of activity over the years. He advised in his conversations with blank and blank that blank believes there is a link between the two, and as recently as last week, somebody has advised him that he thinks there may be a link between the two, but he has no proof. Further, he was advised he also recently learned from both somebody supposedly in the recent past had been contacted personally in Stuart, Florida by someone, the Finders, possibly with the name something. According to this person, this individual told somebody else he did not appreciate something inquiries into the Finders group. So somebody is telling, excuse me, guys, sorry. My allergies are starting to act up. Somebody is telling another agent that they do not appreciate inquiries into the Finders group. Up here, they talk about destroying files. Is it not clear, guys? I mean, again, if you haven't seen the Finders documentary, go back and watch the Finders documentary. Then, I mean, I actually have on YouTube, we have a whole playlist that I've done over the last 2 years investigating the Finders. We've got more than 20 different videos, an 8-part investigation series, an interview with the member of the Finders cult, an audio interview with the next member of the cult who claims that there's nothing to see here, but his story doesn't line up with the facts, as well as my deep dives into the documents from the FBI back in October, and then another one back in February, and then here we are today. So let's continue. Since 1992, somebody advised he has been in regular contact with both. Oh, wait, we already read that. Let's go back down. 1 second, guys. Sorry, I had to blow my nose. Somebody was interviewed at the Washington Metro Field Office of the FBI, 1900 Half Street, Southwest Washington, D.C. After being advised as to the identity of the interviewing agent and the purpose of the interview, somebody provided the following information. He advised that he currently resides in Virginia. He was employed with this business. There's a phone number. Who knows if that phone number still works? He indicated that he'd retired from Washington Metro Police Department and after something service. I mean, this is also hard to read. There's really nothing we can pull out of this. He advised the detective that he was working a case that developed as a result of some arrests in Tallahassee, Florida, and related that blank obtained 2 search warrants based upon information he received from Tallahassee Police Department. He stated that he was part of the group that executed the search warrant. So now, just as for those who remember the story and for those who don't know, when these children right here were caught with these men in 1987, it set off a nationwide investigation where the cops in Tallahassee held the men, and then the cops in D.C. said, hey, we think we know who these Finders are. They have warehouses in D.C. They have an apartment. We're going to go raid those buildings. And that's where customs agent Ramon Martinez said that he saw pictures of naked children. He saw all this stuff that later the officers would claim he made up, and that he was just, basically they said he was a liar. And so this could be them interviewing him right here, because they're talking about obtaining search warrants. He stated that he was part of the group that executed the search warrant in D.C., describing the building as being a warehouse. He indicated that that contained in this warehouse were numerous computers, to include laptops, personal computers, and telephone modems. And remember, this is 1987. Not so many people had laptops and computers at that time. He advised that a large number of documents were also present. He indicated that, to the best of his recollection, most of the computers and several of the documents were seized by his group. He related that the computers were seized as nobody on the search team knew how to access information contained with them. He advised that at the conclusion of the search, the items seized were transported to the Metro Police Department Intelligence Division, room 5063, for detailed review. Stating that the items were kept in the office for several days while being reviewed, he indicated that he assisted in the review of these items. He advised that during his review of both material from the computers, documents revealed nothing related to any criminal activity. So they're interviewing. I don't think this is Ramon Martinez, because Ramon Martinez is the one who says that he did see pictures of naked children. Whoever they're talking to here is saying that there was nothing criminal there, but then there's also a big redacted section, so who knows. Somebody advised that the documents he observed were nonsensical and appeared to be conversation between members of a group transmitted by computer modem. So think about that. They were sending messages, what they called telex messages, back and forth, communicating with each other. And in the original reports, it says that they were telling each other how to avoid the cops and how to get around the police blockades after the arrest happened. Also giving other members of the group warnings about how to get out of the city without being detected by police. So we have to be aware of these things, that there was a big cover-up going on involving officers, and even some officers from the Tallahassee Police Department, as well as the Metro Police Department in D.C., did try to blow the whistle and speak out. And some of them, including Sergeant John Stitcher, said that there was a cover-up. Coincidentally, he died a couple years after making that claim. We don't know much about his death, but that's what we know, is that he died after he told Martinez that there was a cover-up by the CIA. Somebody advised that it was standard Metro PD Intelligence Division procedure to do detailed inventories and take photographs. He advised that, to the best of his recollection, this was done. He stated that he did not recall any allegations of involvement by somebody during any aspect of this case. He advised that he knew of no attempts by anyone from the group, to include the blank FBI or State Department, to interfere or influence the outcome of this investigation. Referenced the January 6, 1994 Airtel from San Diego to Washington Metro Field Office. As specified in this reference, Airtel, retired U.S. Customs Service agent somebody was recontacted, and I'm guessing that's Ramon Martinez there, January 11, 1994, February 11th, and February 17th, to determine whether somebody could locate any personal notes concerning his involvement with the search warrants. No personal notes could be located. So it shows that there was an investigation. They were contacting people and in San Diego. Now look at this, though. This is FBI facsimile cover sheet. FBI, Washington Metro Field Office, from Violent Crimes Unit. Subject, Finders Group, white slave traffic. White slave traffic. And if you remember from my documentary, some of the children said that the finders had a man named Steve that they kept as their slave or something along those lines. So, subject, Finders Group, White Slave Traffic Act, Sexual Exploitation of Children, Obstruction of Justice. On January 26, 1994, somebody, U.S. Customs Service, West Palm Beach, Florida, was contacted for per reference request. Let me zoom out a little bit. So you can see, guys, these are old. These are actual copies too. This is not the original forms. You can tell this has been scanned. So perhaps things have been changed. These might not even be the original pages that they were on. It's hard to trust the FBI, of course. So far, though, guys, I'm not seeing anything new. In early 1987, he became aware of the Finders Group. This is all just restating the same story. During this period of 1987 searches, he asked him if he had received any paperwork concerning the Finders, and when he replied negative, he was told by somebody to keep it that way. So that's something new that I don't remember seeing. At least we're seeing somebody was being told by the superior, guessing, to keep it that way, to not have anything written up on the finders. Somebody became acquainted with somebody, and blank, blank, blank. Subsequently, he met with this person in state attorney's office. I'm sorry, guys, if this is just like mind-numbing and gets a little bit old. I'm going to stop the screen share for a second. I'm trying to dig through theirs, and I understand that some of this is a little bit, just, it can be boring. It can get old. I mean, trust me, I'm having to read through these documents. But what I recommend more than anything is to go watch the Finders documentary. And everybody who's watching right now on Facebook via Wake Up News, The Conscious Resistance, and Derrick Broze page, I appreciate it. Everybody on YouTube, thank you guys so much. If you can thumbs up, like, heart, whatever you want to do, whatever you can do, share this video out. I appreciate it. And if you haven't seen the documentary, that's where you really need to start. So we're going to continue on looking at the Finders documents. Again, this is document dump number 3 from the FBI files that has recently come out. And again, our documentary is called Who Will Find What the Finders Hide? It has been seen nearly 100,000 times on YouTube as well as other places with uploads. So please get the information out there. Now, this is interesting. Subsequently, he advised he met with somebody in State Attorney's Office investigator on October 9th, 1992. And at that time, they inquired as to information available from the U.S. Customs Service concerning the Montessori schools. Now, you guys, I know that many of you are real supportive of the Montessori schools, and I'm not sitting here trying to badmouth or act as if all the Montessori schools are involved in this, but without a doubt, some of the Montessori schools, Glendale Montessori School, Glendale, look that one up, John Brissom, his channel is called We've Read the Documents. He has a great interview on that. They were definitely involved in one way or another. So just be aware of that. There's definitely evidence that these various schools were used as a way to get access to kids. This is not some fake satanic panic. This is documented evidence. We're looking at FBI files right now, okay? We're not looking at made-up Q drops or something like that. This is real information. Since that time, he has been in constant contact with somebody, the last time being possibly Monday. In 1992, somebody recalled putting someone in contact with somebody else in that they wished to speak with other agents who had been in the child pornography unit. At that time, he recalled someone appeared to have considerable knowledge of the unit. Somebody else denied any knowledge of how blank, blank, blank. Look at this, blank, blank. I mean, God, it's hard to just read any of this, guys. There's no, I mean, we're not going to be able to get much from this. Any connection between the Finders and so-and-so. Recently, he advised blank had advised him that claims to have received a visit from somebody, the Finders, who told him they did not appreciate his inquiries concerning them. Think about that. This is what we got from that, is that somebody working for the FBI or for one of these agencies received a visit from somebody from the Finders. My guess would be either the founder of the Finders, Marion Petty, or Robert Terrell, who I interviewed, and was told that they did not appreciate any inquiries. Think about that. These guys are so organized that they can come at the FBI and say, we don't appreciate you investigating this. You know, maybe there was a threat. We don't know. It's heavily redacted. He advised that any information he received in the future concerning the Finders would be brought to the attention of either Special Agent somebody or other law enforcement officials. At the time, somebody also advised Special Agent someone else who conducted the interview that he would be providing the following day. As of January 28, 1994, somebody has not contacted the FBI concerning the Finders' location in D.C. In view of this fact that no investigation remains outstanding, Miami is considering this matter done. So we're seeing how by 1994, and I imagine that this might be the final documents the FBI put out. They might have more, but so far, I found more in the first document dump right here from October and in the second document dump back from February. This itself seems to be kind of just leftovers. There's not much new, but there could be. That's why I'm digging through. That's why I'm taking the time to dig through this boring stuff. And if you're wondering what I'm skipping past, it's just stuff that is repeated. A lot of times they include files that are just repetitions of previous files, and that's basically what we're looking at here. Okay, CIA records provide Washington Metro Field Office review by somebody, a paralegal specialist, CIA Office of General Counsel, including the results of CIA record traces as requested by the FBI on December 22nd, 1993, and the CIA personnel folder of Isabel M. Petty. Now, for those who remember this, Marion D. Petty, was the founder of the Finders. His wife, Isabel, worked for the CIA. His son, George, worked for the CIA's fake airline, Air America, which was shipping drugs in and out of the country. Now, they claim this is all just coincidence, but they're talking about they accessed the CIA personnel file of Isabel Petty. Of interest were references to CIA offices of logistics, contracts for training classes on PC skills and Microsoft word process training with a firm named Future Enterprises. Future Enterprises is one of the names that we've learned is a front for the Finders Group. These contracts appear to have been made between April 1986 and October 1993. No address or other identifying information concerning Future Enterprises was contained. Of additional interest was a secret CIA memo. This could get juicy. For record dated February 8, 87. So remember, February 1887. This is after the Finders' arrest in 1987. Written by somebody with the Special Activities Division, documenting his February 87 telephone conversation with Metro PD detective. This memo is at the variance with the MPD 85 documenting the same. So there's a conversation that took place between the CIA and Metro Police Department detective. And that his detective was Brad, what's his name? And his name escapes me, but he was the main detective who was involved in the Metro Police Department. We suspect that he might have been the one that helped cover this up because he was involved with the original walkthrough of the warehouse. And then later he said there was nothing to see there. What this shows is that during the time period, February 1887, remember this incident happened. Let me see if I can find the original date. The Finders on February 4th, 1987. So February 4th, 1987, the Finders are arrested. By February 18th, 87, there's a call from the CIA to the Metro Police Department detective, which was investigating this case. The Washington Metro Field Office requested the CIA Office of General Counsel provide specifics concerning their contracts with Future Enterprises, to include the business address. The Washington Metro Field Office was advised that this information would be requested and provided for review at a later date. Additionally, Washington Metro Field Office requested a photocopy of the classified information memo and it be possible in a declassified form. So we got to get more information than that, but what I'm showing here is that basically that there was some calls being made from the Washington Metro Field Office and the CIA, which could hint at a further cover-up. So that's important for us to understand. 1 second, guys. Somebody's at the door. And yeah, so let's continue on now. Sorry, guys. There's some noise going on in the house that I'm in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, this is Derrick Broze, the Conscious Resistance Network. We are live on Wake Up News. We are live on the Conscious Resistance on Facebook. We're also live on Derrick Broze on Facebook, even though I hate Facebook. And we are live on the Conscious Resistance YouTube. We're going to do about 10 more minutes of this before I have to go. And I apologize if it's about to get a lot louder in here. But yeah, I think we're seeing evidence that there definitely was communication between the CIA and the FBI. Not a huge surprise, right? These agencies communicate. But the fact that it was during the time of the investigation could indicate that there was an attempt to cover up what was going on. So here we go. Washington Metro Field Office, Finders Group, White Slave Traffic Act, Sexual Exploitation of Children. And this is just a synopsis of the event. So this is all stuff that's been seen before. They're talking about 1993, Acting Assistant General John C. Keeney, Criminal Division, Department of Justice, to Assistant Director Larry A. Potts. Now, each of these names, though, Larry Potts, General John C. Keeney, each of these men need to be investigated themselves. And if I remember correctly, Larry A. Potts, his name has come up in investigations into child trafficking and in government involvement. So that's what I really need help with, guys. Like, I'm just going over some of the basics of the documents, but each of these documents, for those of us who have time, money, energy, they need to be poured over. Each of these names, like, for example, this is how I would start if I was going to dive deeper, and I don't have time today. Acting Assistant Attorney General John C. Keeney. I would look him up. Is he still alive today? Criminal Division, Department of Justice. Is he still working for the DOJ? Somebody look this up real quick. If anybody has just go out, DuckDuckGo, John C. Keeney, Keeney. Let's do a crowdsource investigation right here on the fly. Is that guy still alive? Is he still working for the government? If not, if he's retired, my next move would be to say, how can I find him? Because often these people speak out after they retire. Many of them are scared to speak out if they know things. Some of them might have been involved in the cover-up and probably would still lie to our faces. But in some cases, they will speak out. So John C. Keeney And in another one, Larry A. Potts. Somebody else look up Larry A. Potts. They both worked for the Department of Justice. Are they still alive? Are they still working for those government positions? And if so, maybe we should contact them. I mean, that's how we do real investigations here, not just conspiracy theory, theorizing and speculating without actually doing digging and trying to find things. That's how you do investigations. The DOJ requested that the FBI conduct a preliminary inquiry into allegations made by somebody concerning child sexual abuse by a group known as the Finders, and what role, if any, was played by the U.S. intelligence community. Somebody alleged that the Finders are involved in a well-organized child abuse scheme and that the CIA, in conjunction with the State Department and the FBI's counterintelligence division, conspired to cover up these abuses. And that is 100% right, guys. That is 100% fact. I proved this in the last document dive over here, which is 2.5 hours long. I'll try to make a short version of this soon and maybe go over the finer points of what we found. But we know for certain that there is a memo in there where they say that it was covered up by the FCIA, which is the Foreign Counterintelligence Agency, as well as the CIA, the State Department, and the FBI. Some of these allegations appear to be based on memos prepared by U.S. Customs Service Special Agent Ramon Martinez. Now, that is the original customs agent who was involved in the walkthrough of the Finders investigation. I'm going to pause right here just because I asked the question. Let's see. I'm going to go back and check the comments. If any of you guys had a chance to look up John C. Keeney or Larry A. Potts, let me look up the comments. Thumbs this up, guys. If you're watching, share it. Please do. Keeney died in 2011. He worked in the DOJ until 2010. So there you go. That is not available. Larry A. Potts. Somebody want to check out that? Larry A. Potts. Let's look up Larry A. Potts. I'm looking at the comments, guys, by the way. I can see all the comments from Facebook, YouTube, etc. So if you're commenting, I'm seeing it, and I appreciate it. Yes, use DuckDuckGo. So thank you for looking up Keeney. We're told he worked in the DOJ until 2010, and then he died after that. What about Larry A. Potts? See if that name rings any bells. I'm going to continue on. We're going to do this for about 10 more minutes. I got to go in about 10, but let's continue on. This is Derrick Broze of the Conscious Resistance Network. We're diving deep into the latest document dumps from the FBI related to the Finders. This is document dump number 3. And again, if you're hearing this and you're thinking, God, this guy is delusional, especially those of you who might be listening on Wake Up News who've never heard my work, you need to understand that there's fact to this. There's truth in this. There's documented evidence. Larry A. Potts. Larry A. Potts is the name. He worked for the Department of Justice. Is he still alive? Is he still around? Thank you, guys. Let's continue. Somebody's saying DuckDuckGo bought out by Google. I haven't seen that yet, but please send that to me, intothe light@protonmail.com. I'd love to look into that. And I wouldn't be surprised, though, because unfortunately everything good is getting bought by Google or Amazon, and eventually there's not going to be any safe, secure way to search the internet. So let's continue. In this memo, Special Agent, somebody alleged seeing, and then there's a huge blank. This is probably where they say naked pictures of children, cameras where children were supposedly acting out scenes and plays. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff that we covered in the documentary. By U.S. Customs Service memo dated April 87, Special Agent so-and-so alleged that on April 2nd, 87, an individual at the Metro Police Department told him that, quote, the investigation of the Finders had become a CIA internal matter. The Metro Police Department report had been classified secret and was not available for review. That the FBI had withdrawn from this investigation, and that the FBI Foreign Counterintelligence Division has directed MPD not to advise the Washington field office of anything that had transpired. Did you guys get that? That's the original memo where a lot of these claims come from, where Ramon Martinez said that the investigation had become a CIA internal matter and that they were not to advise the Washington field office about anything that had transpired. And now they say, though, quote, investigation to date has not found corroboration of these allegations. Interviews conducted to date and the review of Washington Metro Department office files and the Tallahassee Police Department files, the Washington Metro Field FBI files, and the FBI HIQ files found no documentation indicating that any agency interfered with or covered up with the Finders investigation. So maybe that's it, guys. Maybe that's the whole story right there. They're saying they looked at all their files, they looked into it, and nothing to see here. But thanks to the internet, we have those files available. I mentioned the Tallahassee Police Department files. If you go over here to my documentary, Who Will Find What the Finders Hide, you can go through the transcript. You know, I don't just talk. I write the transcript. You see these yellow, these are links to the actual reports. including the Tallahassee Police Department documents that you can find yourself. And you can read how the Tallahassee Health Department, they actually said that there was evidence that 2 of the children had been sexually abused, that there was penetration, and that 1 of the children had a, quote, rectal prolapse that from what they estimated was from sodomy. Now, I don't think that he could just shit all over himself from any other way. And I'm sorry, this is disturbing to hear, guys, but this is what the files say. But then over here, the FBI is trying to tell us, oh, we looked at all the files and there's nothing to see here. No specific information or misconduct by any FBI employee has been developed to date during the ongoing preliminary inquiry into the captioned matter. Liaison has been established with the MPD in effort to determine the description and disposition of evidence seized during the searches. And this has been a big part, guys. It seems like the evidence that they collected, and we have pictures of them in our documentary, and there's pictures that still exist out there, where the cops were exiting the warehouse in D.C., and they're holding these big trash bags filled with all the evidence. That evidence was never seen again. Ramon Martinez says he went there to try to review it, and they wouldn't give him access to it. And if we go back up here on the other page where I was just looking at, somebody mentioned the destruction of evidence. So we have no idea where that evidence went, what happened to it, if it's still in that room, whatever they described, or if it was immediately destroyed. But now it's convenient, 30 years after the fact, that they can claim that they looked into it and there's nothing there. The review of CIA records is not yet complete and is awaiting further documents. Based on the results, the Department State indices check, a review of passport records was conducted with negative results. Now, that's also a lie, because they talk about how they found passports from all over the world with the Finders members, and that they had passports and records of travel to places like China, the USSR, the Soviet Union, Vietnam, and other places that normal people, just everyday people like me and you, were not allowed to travel to during the 80s, the height of the Cold War. All right. But these people who were supposedly just eccentric group of journalists who lived together and follow the leader named Marion Petty, and they played all these weird games, but they weren't involved in trafficking. But those people somehow were able to travel the world freely and get access to places that people like you and I would have never been able to access. Now, to me, that signals that they were working for some government agency. And it's what I talked about in the documentary, guys. It's called a NOC, a non-official undercover. This is the sort of thing that you see in the James Bond spy movies, right? Or somebody's like, you know, if you get caught, we will disavow all knowledge of you. That's true. That's what happens. If you're involved in some kind of shady stuff and you get caught, the FBI and these agencies are basically just going to destroy your files and pretend like they have no record of you. And so if the Finders were under some sort of official, or, you know, as has been alleged, that they were at one point officially working for the CIA, but then they, quote, went rogue. And that's from the documents themselves. Previous documents have stated they went rogue. If that's the case, either way, they would not want that information to become public. They would cover it up. They would lie about it. Now, these documents just detail what we've already known. I might do a part 2 of this, guys, actually. Instead of trying to just rush through this so quickly, this is part 1. I wanted to do this right now because, well, I don't got a lot of time today, but we're on page, well, it says page 3, but let's see, the page 26 out of 107, right? I got to go in just a few minutes, so we're going to cut it there. Probably tonight, which is Thursday, or tomorrow, Friday evening, I'll come back. We'll do another live, and we will go deeper, and we'll continue the search of the Finders files. This is, of course, document dump number 3, which I found thanks to some supporters on Twitter. And let me just search this so those of you who might not understand what the vault is. There we go. So see this? The vault, FBI. This is where the FBI keeps and posts a lot of document dumps, you know, things that I guess they say are no longer relevant. You know, you can search by keywords. So here we go. This is vault.fbi.gov. This is, again, not some conspiracy. These aren't Q drops. These are actual documents. Then we search the Finders, and check this out. You see Finders Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. We were just looking at Part 3. That's where you can find all of this information. I will post this link in all the chats for you guys. But that's what we're looking at. So again, if you're new to this, if you're just hearing my voice for the first time, my name is Derrick Broze. The website's theconsciousresistance.com. You can find the documentary Who Will Find What the Finders Hide at theconsciousresistance.com/the Finders. And if you just search the Finders here, you can find all of our reports on that. And of course, they are on the Facebook page at The Conscious Resistance. Mainly, you'll find them on our YouTube page, but also make sure to follow us on BitChute, because you guys heard yesterday, one of my videos was removed again by YouTube. This is the second video in a week that I've had taken down, third video overall. But you can find all of my videos, or at least most of them, on BitChute, on Library. Some of them I'm uploading on Float, and some of them are over on Hive. Some of them are on Minds. I'm trying to get it all up to date, guys, but I've got 10 years worth of videos, so sometimes it's difficult to make sure you guys have access to everything. But yeah, let's leave it there for now so I don't have to rush and miss anything. If I'm rushing, we might miss some important information. So we're going to pause here for today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. But yeah, stay tuned for part 2, either later today or tomorrow evening. This has been Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network. I appreciate everybody who's tuned in, everybody who's listening. I'm going to go ahead and post that link to you guys. There you go. That's the vault.fbi.gov/search/finders, and you can get access to everything I just saw. So if you don't believe it's true, maybe you'll trust the FBI more than me. All right, guys, I got to go for now. Got an important phone call that is potentially big for the future of the Conscious Resistance. We've got lots of big announcements to share with you guys soon, but right now it's too early to share them. But I've got good information to share with you related to my work and the potential to reach a lot more people. So if you appreciate my work, please do thumbs up, subscribe, share, follow, whatever it is. And if you have questions, email me at intothelight, all one word, at protonmail.com. intothelight@protonmail.com. Until next time, guys, this has been Derrick Broze with Conscious Resistance Network. Remember, say it with me now. You are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.